here in my garage with my brand new Lamborghini. I had to. Like the video if you understood the reference. Let's get into this. We're talking about form today. This has been a long time coming, and it's very important that we follow some of the simple steps in this video for the duration of our Isochain training. If we break down form into each of its individual components, I actually cover the entire thing and each individual how to perform Isochain exercise. If you haven't seen that series, there's a link right here. It's a link to the entire playlist. I covered all exercises, and there are new ones that we're thinking about every day. So it's on the list of to do for the channel. So whenever there's a new exercise that we come up with on the Isochain, it'll be in that playlist. Definitely check that out. It's more than just 10 exercises on the Isochain. I know that we see like a core amount of exercises, but there's definitely more than those 10. The first thing I want to cover is chain slack. Now I know I preluded to this in the previous video on how I ended up hurting myself like an idiot. The first problem was I had a chain link issue. Now the chain link was right, the slack wasn't. If you can see at the bottom there that there's a little bit of slack, the spring is not all the way up, it's a little down. So when you push, you run into that little jerk right there. So what do you think is gonna happen? If you're driving a car and you go full force into a wall, something's gotta give, right? In which case, usually your wrists are probably gonna be ground zero for the impact force. I'd probably say that the lower back might be second, but you never know. Either way, whatever it is, you don't want it to happen, okay? So make sure, number one, that there is no slack in the chain. For example, here, it shouldn't be like this, right? I just nut-shotted myself doing that. Another reason why you don't want to do that. You want to push up until you feel the tension. Here is where you start. So you're already slightly pushing into it. Now when it's time to rip, you see what I'm saying? You're already there. So now you can just focus all the pressure into the movement, or lack thereof. That's just gonna be a running joke, just whatever. Let's get on to number 2. Hand placement. We're gonna talk about how I screwed up my wrist. Here's how I screwed it up. So if you can see, this looks like it's no problem, right? No, actually, if you can see, my left hand is a little farther away from the center of the Isochain bar. My right hand is a little closer. You see the hands? See how close it is? See how far this one is? Okay, so now I'm coming at an angle. I'm coming at an angle that I shouldn't be coming into. So now I'm pressing into the bar this way. I should be pressing into it directly into it this way. There should not be a different angle. That's very similar to when we perform a squat and we move our legs in the transverse plane while performing the movement. Our legs should not be moving in the transverse plane. It should be only going up and down, and that's it. Unfolding like an accordion and then compressing into itself. If I'm performing a shoulder press, I want to be here, okay? So right about shoulder width. See it? Now when I push, everything is symmetrical. Tip number 3 for correct form is maintaining neutral spine. Let's go over that with the shoulder press first, since we're on that one already. Because you might not think that you need neutral spine, but you need it. Here's why. This is correct form. Right now I have my abs engaged. So I'm tightening up my abs as I push into the unit. Here's incorrect form. Can you see it? Can you see the curve in my spine? When everything's linear, I'm pushing up from my feet all the way up into my hands. As soon as I curve my spine, I've broken the line of power. So now it's coming into here. I'm getting pressure getting dispersed into my back, okay? So that's why when you see people performing the shoulder press and they're like this, you know, sometimes on heavier lifts, I've caught myself slipping. It's like, whoa, let me lighten it up, or let me really focus on tightening up my core. Usually tightening up my core fixes the issue by itself because it automatically forces you to push at the right angle. If you come back here and tighten your core, it already feels weird. It's like you're trying to shove your stomach out. It doesn't work that way. But as soon as everything is linear, one straight line from your feet all the way up, boom, this is correct. This is not correct. This is not correct. This is correct. See the difference? Angle, even though we're not moving, it still makes a difference. This is how we don't get hurt on the Isochain. Again, I cover it in all my videos on the how-to, but let me show you just a couple more. I'm not gonna change the chain link for the deadlift, but here's how it looks for the deadlift. So for here, this is about mid-position deadlift for me. So right here, when I pull up, I don't wanna pull like this. I wanna pull like that. Sorry guys, it's like 95 degrees out here today, so, and I'm inside in the garage. So let me show you again the deadlift. Proper form. So you see my core, right? So you see how I'm tightening up my abs. So I'm not like this either. That's gonna cause another problem. And you're gonna pull, and you're pulling directly into your spinal erectors. You see how my butt is out like that? That even hurts right now. Now granted, I'm still recovering from my back injury, but right now that my back hurts because it lets me know if I'm doing the movement correctly. And right now, sticking my butt out, that hurts. As soon as I tighten it up, like that, do you see the difference? So, wrong, boom. See the difference? Wrong, boom. Now, everything is tight. The kinetic chain is perfect. As soon as I pull up, boom, everything. Now granted, I'm not gonna come up. You know, I'm still gonna be stuck in place, but everything, you're gonna notice that your number on the Isochain is going to go up. Once you engage your core, so that is tip number 3, engage your core. Let's take the Romanian deadlift. We're gonna go deep today. We're gonna go deep, cover quite a few things, all right? So the Romanian deadlift, or the stiff leg deadlift. Some might argue that they're the same thing. Some might argue that they're not the same thing. They're the same thing, okay? So stiff leg deadlift. So look at the difference, right? So ready? Boom, lockout. Now, you see the angle from my feet to my hips is a complete straight line. See my leg? So my leg is completely straight. I'm not slightly bent because that's gonna absolutely break the kinetic chain. You want to be completely straight so that you're gonna feel this in your hamstrings and your spinal erectors in a good way, not a bad way. Make sure you're contracting the core and you're gonna rip into it. As soon as you bend into this, you're just doing a deadlift all over again. The slightest bend and you're doing a deadlift. Even contracting your core, you're doing a regular deadlift, okay? So you wanna make sure that you straighten it up, stiff leg. That way you can really focus on strengthening your lower back and your hamstrings. I find that exercise fantastic. And had I been doing it more, I probably wouldn't have blew my back out because it'd be super strong by now. But silly me, right? Okay, you live and you learn. Isometric squat. This is another one that I commonly see messed up. I was doing it in the beginning too. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect, all right? But I've seen it a lot with my clients utilizing their spinal erectors to bring the weight up, which is gonna cause issues. Not immediately, mind you, but over time. Here's what I mean. So the Isometric squat, everybody's fan favorite next to Austin squat, all right? So look at my form right now. So my feet are shoulder width or greater apart. They're flared out a little bit, not a huge bit, just a little bit, all right? So what I usually see people doing a Isometric squat is I see them do this. They try and pull like this. Right now, that hurts like hell. Again, my back is recovering. That lets me know I'm not doing it right, all right? So I don't wanna pull with my butt up. That's just gonna put all the pressure on my lower back, which is gonna cause problems later. So what you wanna do, I've always told my clients, rotate underneath the bar, rotate underneath the bar. I probably sound like a broken record, but over time, they start to get it and they feel it, and once they do rotate underneath the bar, their numbers go higher because they're utilizing their quadriceps, a much more powerful muscle than the spinal erector. You see the size of the spinal erector versus the quadricep in the name itself, quad. Now you just go like this. Boom. Now you see I'm under it and I push. You see I almost went backwards. So another quick tip, what I like to do with the quadricep for the Isometric squat is I like to be up against the wall. That forces me to be even more underneath the bar so I can get even higher numbers. Remember, all that matters is that we're ripping into the muscle in question. So if you need to use aids, like the wall, that's okay. It's fine, as long as you're getting what you need to do without breaking form, that's totally okay. Another often messed up exercise, and it's okay, as long as we learn from the mistakes and not continue to do it after learning about it, that's how we grow, okay? The bicep curl. I often see this exercise being turned into the drag curl. Here's the difference. Ready? Drag curl. See the positioning of my hands? See the positioning of my elbows? My elbows are back here. It's at an angle. Bicep curl. Bicep curl. Drag curl. Coming out here, just make sure that when we're performing the bicep curl, you might find a little bit of discomfort in your forearms. 9 times out of 10, that means that your forearms are not strong enough yet. So I recommend doing the reverse curl. Here's a link to that. In the meantime, focusing on the bicep curl, tighten up the core. You're gonna notice the trend with that, right? Number 2, tighten up the core. Boom! As soon as we pull into that, this is the perfect form right here. Ready? See the difference? So I'm gonna show you 3 ways to mess up. Here's the first way. Here's the second way. That's actually pretty common to arch the back into the bicep curl. And the third way, bending out here. You will get next to nothing like this. But as soon as you straighten up, boom, everything's in center. Tighten up your abs, boom, into it for 6 seconds. You'll get that rise time, 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit of drop off, 5, 6. That's money right there. Watch your bicep curl go up. Has to be the right form, guys. I want to make sure that we're out here not getting hurt and doing stupid stuff like myself. The shoulder front raise. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this one from a low position. So the shoulder front raise, you can have it low, you can have it mid, and you can have it high. I like training mid. For the demonstration purposes, I'm gonna show low because it's easy to mess this one up. There's 2 ways to mess the front raise up. Here's the first way. So you have the front raise out like this, and you shorten the amount of distance between your shoulders and the bar. So you're gonna notice that if we do our front raise like this, our number on the front raise is gonna be a lot higher because the distance from the bar to the body is closer. As soon as we take that away and get a full, you want to lock out. Very rarely is it wise to lock out. In this case, you want to lock out. You are going to feel a tremendous burn in your front delt. So now, notice the difference. The other way is you can have your arms all the way out, but you're arching your back. Notice I keep coming back to that. The core is very important, guys. All right, so this is proper form here. See the difference? From my feet to my shoulders, a complete straight line. Tighten up my cores, ripping into the shoulders. Whoo! Man, I felt that. I didn't even have the unit on, and I felt it. Like, it's such a difference. I highly recommend doing that. The calf raise, the standing one. So with our calf raise, the standing one at least, I cover the feet position in the actual how-to calf raise video on the channel. One thing that I noticed though, and sometimes I catch myself doing it, all right, so I'm not exempt, but I'm aware of it, and the amount of instances that it happens is significantly lower now. What I used to do is you see right now what I'm doing, my knees are bent a little bit. So I'd be going up into it. So now I'm like wobbly. Sometimes I come back onto my heels, which is really annoying because your rise time got messed up. So chances are your overall strength number for the 6 seconds is gonna be trash now because you wasted half of it, you know, not having the right position. Lock out here. I don't have a choice. There's no way I'm gonna fall back. The angle I'm pushing at here, it's like this. This is the angle. Right now, my calves are engaged. I'm not going 100, but my calves are engaged. I'm not leaning too far forward because if I lean too far forward, I'm gonna fall, yank the plate with me, trip over the plate, and then run into the wall. I've done it. Hopefully no one else has, but kind of sucks. At the same time, you can't lean too far backwards either because you're just gonna come back on your heels, potentially slip, stumble backwards and fall. What I recommend is one of 2 things. Either have a wall behind you, keep the core tight, and push backwards against the wall. As long as you're on your tiptoes and your core is straight, you can have your shoulder blades touch a wall, pushing into the wall like that. Your calves are still engaged. If you don't want to use the wall and drag it all the way up over there, you just want it in one spot for the entire session, which I understand for speed purposes, make sure that your feet, the balls of your toes are in line with the spring. So see this right here? So the spring is here. So the ball of my foot right here, that's in line with the spring. See it? So I'm not up here. I'm definitely not down here. I'm gonna go forward immediately. Balls of foot lined up with the spring. Go into it. Last one I'm gonna cover for today is the row. This is another exercise I see often messed up. Now, luckily for me, I realized this one pretty early. So when I was doing my initial Sweet 16 video, where I did the day 1, day 15, and day 30 numbers, the first couple of days, my rows shot up. Wanna know why it shot up? It wasn't because of my strength. Here's what I did the first day. Here's what I did like the 4th day. See the difference? This is not really working my back. I need to be here, okay? So when I drive back, what I tell clients is to visualize like you're trying to elbow somebody behind you. So you're trying to take the bar with you and elbow somebody behind you. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to move, but that's what you wanna do. You wanna drive your elbows back, thereby stimulating our lats, all right? So when we pull, tighten up the core, makes everything work. Hey! See the difference? Versus this. All right, you still feel it. Yes, you still feel it. The number here is going to be so much higher, but is it really a row? No, you're using a lot more of your body here. That's why it's important for the angle to be completely correct. Make sure your knees are straight. That way, all the force is going, the kinetic chain is going from your feet all the way through your legs, boom, into the elbow and going backwards behind you. The force from your feet straight behind you. As soon as you break here, that messes up the chain. Both actual chain and kinetic chain, okay? So you wanna be completely straight, head up, chin up, core tight. Drive back with your elbows like this, okay? Keep the core tight, it makes everything work. When you release, you will feel it in your lats. You will feel it. You'll also notice a difference with your core. Your core, tightening up your core this many times in the same session, watch what happens with your core strength. Hopefully, the squad found this helpful in their training. Listen, we're not perfect. I found myself slipping back into the stupid habits. It takes time to break the habit. Make sure you break the habit before the habit breaks you. Thanks for watching, guys. There's gonna be a couple videos that are gonna be suggested by the holy algorithm. Pick whichever one you think is more interesting to you, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.